kind of like Joe Cool better. Introspective Joe makes me worried, bro. What's your reaction?
He's being honest.
I know.
Now, maybe you don't want to hear that, but to describe him in any other way besides injury prone at this point would just be disingenuous. Well, he's missed 13 games in 4 years. He's only been healthy for 2 of his 4 seasons. All right, so his last injury, well, the second to last, he just got hurt rolling out in practice. All right, and then the wrist injury, I know he hurt that in a game, but, you know, we saw him with the brace on and like, and he, dating back to college, he had some injury issues as well. And so, yeah, this is a problem. And that, look, beyond just the physical issue of can he stay healthy, if it's in his head, and you got to kind of wonder, well, how would it not be in his head, right? That you are injury prone, that I'm out here, I could get hurt. Can I do this? Can I do that? It's a battle. I think he can get through it because he is a great quarterback. But he is going to have to go out and prove to us and maybe to himself that he is not injury prone.
So, or flip side of that is his team needs to acknowledge that he is and treat him as such, which they have not. So, like, I hesitate, and I don't mean to always use the Chiefs as the gold standard, but I will in this regard once again. I apologize. Patrick Mahomes got hurt in the flukiest way imaginable on a play that is run 1,000 times a season by every quarterback over the course of history. Tom Brady ran it more than anyone, never got hurt on it, and always succeeded on it. Patrick Mahomes, 5 years ago, got hurt on it one time. The Chiefs did not call they still haven't called a quarterback sneak. They did not call another designed quarterback run until overtime of the Super Bowl on 4th down.
Yep.
Because they were like, and Patrick Mahomes is not injury prone. Right. That's the only time he's ever missed games in his career. Now, he's had sprained ankle, he played through, but he is the opposite of injury prone. He's not quite, Favre or Manning as far as the Iron Man, but he's not injury prone. We have to protect him. Tua, obviously injury concern. The Dolphins had a whole program in place, including what his body was going to look like, him practicing non-football stuff like jiu-jitsu, what offense they're going to run to acknowledge it. The Bengals had Joe Burrow in training camp with a calf sleeve instead of sitting, and he tweaks it. The Bengals had Joe Burrow on an airplane with a wrist brace, and then he gets hurt. I just don't trust that organization to recognize that this guy needs to be treated in a certain way. And I don't, you guys know how much you said, Brew, going into last year, he was kind of universally considered the second best quarterback in football. For me, that started a couple years ago. I think he's great. And I also think that he is the only quarterback that I think's great that doesn't have, like, the measurables that I love from arm strength and stuff like that, because he's so A+ in accuracy and leadership and all those things.
Brady.
Right, a lot like Brady. And I don't trust it. Up to this point, the Bengals haven't treated his injuries with the level of concern that I think other teams would.
Brew, remember when he was asked how big his Super Bowl window was, his Cincinnati Super Bowl window closing, and he said famously, the window is my whole career.
Yep.
So that's kind of the opposite. That's the very long view. We can always win. Now he's like, you know what? Thinking about my football mortality, if I was in the front office, I was like, you know what? I would treat him more like the Jets this year go all in. The Cowboys, who were supposed to be all in. Even the Chiefs, and Mahomes going to have a long career, are all in this year chasing. It doesn't feel like the Bengals are.
Well, I think they are by not trading Higgins. To me, they have been.
Rather than signing him. They could have traded him and moved forward.
Exactly.
I also think those are reasons that they need to be looking at it as Super Bowl or bust this year. Right? Because you got 2 of your key players who have asked to be traded, presumably won't be on the team next year. All right? And you got to pay Jamar now. I don't know if they'll pay him this year or not, but
they'll pay him this year.
Okay, if your quarterback gets injured again, you still might pay him, but that at least comes into your thought process. So they should be like almost on a 1 year-to-year plan with Burrow.
Yeah.
Like we got to go all out every year.
And and if Bengals fans are watching this and think it's being too harsh, what is concerning? So we can throw out the torn ACL. I would throw out the torn ACL. Maybe that's unfair. Maybe that's.
No,
but it was
that happened.
And if you watched the play, it feels like, yeah, every ACL gets torn by that. You know what I mean? It was a terrible offensive line. It was the concern, literal concern, when people were like, "Don't go there. They don't have this infrastructure." All those things. That one. In my opinion, last year he suffered 2 very significant injuries on diametrically opposed parts of the body, both in relatively banal circumstances. One totally in rolling out, but the other one in the Ravens game, I remember when it happened, I don't think anybody thought, oh, that is massive wrist surgery, unique, but then we saw him on the sideline, remember? He couldn't grip the ball, and all of us were shocked by it. So those weren't massive hits, though, which does make you feel like you've got to be extra protective about this player.
Right. Okay. Win total's at 5.5.
Yeah.
Your reaction to either the video game?
Yeah, not how video games work, but I'll set that aside. That's fine. Man, I try to be a confident fellow. I've sometimes been called overconfident.
Well,
I aspire to have the confidence of Sean Payton, man. I mean, there are a lot of checks once again being written, like this time last year. And last year, all the checks bounced. And in fact, one of them had an $87 million overdraft fee in the term of Russell Wilson's dead money. So we'll see if this one goes differently. What I will tell you is this. If Brew is correct, and Brew's not the only one, that Russell Wilson is going to be more than serviceable for a potential above 500, maybe fringe playoff team Steelers, that doesn't look great for Sean Payton. And to be light about it, the entire football world's correct that Bo Nix wasn't a first-round pick and 12 was crazy, that's not going to look great for Sean Payton. So we'll see. I think that Sean Payton's Broncos tenure thus far has been rocky. And I think that now they did win 8 games and they had won 5 the year before. So you give credit for that. And and they rebounded from the 70 piece they gave up. So I'm trying to be fair, but he was brought there to fix the quarterback situation. And they gave a quarterback close to $90 million to go away. And then in my opinion and others, they massively overdrafted a quarterback that is, past the age most NFL players retire when entering the league. And so I think those are question marks, and so we'll see. That's what I would say.
Well, look, it was interesting that he said, and he was playing around with the media, having fun. He was in a good mood, apparently. But that as I've gotten older, I've stopped using the middle fingers. It was just a year ago that he basically was throwing middle fingers at everybody. So I'm not buying that. And look, his legacy's not on the line. No. But we are in a what have you done for me lately world. Right. All right. And I do think it's kind of like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, nobody can take away from him that he was a great quarterback. But because of what he's done these last 2 years, people look at him kind of, and that's where Peyton's at right now. He was great, and he left New Orleans with a phenomenal legacy and reputation. All right, but if he keeps losing in Denver, you just start digging. Well, he did have the 3-7-9 seasons with the Hall of Fame quarterback. There was that Bounty Gate thing, you just start looking at things a little bit differently. Again, Mike Shanahan failed in Washington, so it wasn't ruin what Peyton did in New Orleans, but he should have a chip on his shoulder because thus far he is failing. It's only been 1 year, but he is failing
and it's because, and again, I don't think it's failing because they went 8-9, because I think that actually was something of that was the best year Denver's had in 6 years. I think failing because he was hired with the idea of you're going to get Russell Wilson turned back around. And instead, whatever, fair or not, whatever he saw from Russ, he decided we must move on by any means necessary. So that was the biggest objective, and that one certainly did not happen.
Broncos Jets week 2. I'm going to call that Early must win.
Early must
A
win.
must win for Sean
For both.
Payton.
Probably
That
both.
Yeah.
Probably both.
Josh
the
Allen.
double must win.
You think it's a double?
Yeah.
Probably.
Jets got aspirations.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.